Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. This is take two of our top five albums of the 90s. We started doing one episode and Bill's Wi-Fi unfortunately screwed up, so we had to redo this episode. This is take number two. I am joined by Mr. Bill Schuster again. How's it going, Bill?
Thank you, Armando. Let's hope I manage to stay here this time. My Wi-Fi tends to be an occasional guest star on some of these shows.
No, I understand that. Happens all the time. It's not a big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a fantastic time doing the top five albums of the 70s. We had a good time doing the top five albums of the 80s. We are back with the top five albums of the 90s. We've each picked five albums, five choices, sorry, and two honorable mentions for the years 1990 to 1999. So, as is customary with these episodes, I will hand over the virtual mic to Mr. Bill Schuster, and he will give us his number five for 1990.
All right, thank you, sir. Here
No
we
problem.
go in a new decade. Um, I was 21 when the decade started and 31 when it ended. So we're going into a different time of life here, different way of listening to music, listening for different things in music,
Mm-hmm.
listening to things I might not have listened to as a teenager, certainly. Um, and in some cases expanding my horizons a little bit. So, and one of the ways I did that was, of course, Columbia House Record and Tape Club, BMG Record and Tape Club, the mail order stuff. I got the catalog and found a lot of artists I'd never listened to before that were basically college bands, alternative bands before alternative radio was actually a thing. These were
Mm-hmm.
real alternative bands. And the first one, I don't have a replacement for my old cassette. It is Goo by Sonic Youth. Sonic Youth, this was kind of their bid for mainstream success, you might say. It had a bit more hooks to it than their older stuff. It my favorite songs in the album are mostly involving Kim Gordon. Um, and one of those is Tunic Song for Karen, which is a spooky song about the late Karen Carpenter's afterlife and her contacting her mom and her brother from the beyond and talking, basically addressing rather almost directly her anorexia, which led to her death, of course. And it's a creepy, cool song. It's my favorite on the album for sure. It stands out. There's nothing quite like that. But there's also Cool Thing, which features Chuck D from Public Enemy,
Mm-hmm.
who almost made my list last year, way back in '89, but
Yeah.
not quite. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but most of the album, though, is more apparently traditional Sonic Youth songs, wall of guitar noise, uh, almost, you could say, violent ambient. I just coined the phrase there. I don't know. That's as good a thing as any to describe it. Violent ambient. There you go.
Yeah, no, that is a good, yeah, that's a good subgenre right there. That's true.
Um, yeah, this band was often more about creating a sound than creating songs. So this was a little more off the beaten path for them. So, yeah, Sonic Youth Goo is my number five.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice. My number five, and before I give my number five, um, these lists are going to go all over the map, guys. So just bear with us here. My number five is Enigma with 1990 AD. Enigma were a German music production team headed up by Michael Cretu. They were signed to Virgin Records. They're basically ambient dance, uh, trip hop kind of feel in terms of the music genre. 1990 AD came out, and the videos for this were all over Much Music. The singles from the album were Sadness Part 1, Mea Culpa, Principles of Lust, uh, um, The Rivers of Belief. But Sadness and Mia Culpa were all over Much Music and all over the radio at the time. And the albums were done in one extended uh, play. Basically, all the songs were sequenced together. And they also featured, I believe it's his wife, Sandra Cretu. Cretu spelled Cretu. She basically also did the uh, spoken interludes between the tracks to join the tracks together. This is the type of album, like I've said before, I'm a big proponent of putting on an album, turning off the lights, and just sitting back, closing your eyes, and going for a ride. And this is one of those albums that do that. And all of their albums have the same kind of format where they have an intro, they play right through, continual play, and they have an outro as the conclusion. And it's almost like a concept album, but within the dance world genre. So that's my number five, Enigma, 1990 AD.
Good choice. Concept album in the dance world. Kind of, I like that kind of thing where something you wouldn't expect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, most definitely.
All right. You took a left turn. I'm going to take a right turn.
Go for it.
All right. This is one of these artists that my wife Stacy and I have been debating for years what genre she falls in. Um, she had success on the American country charts of all things in the 90s. A lot of big success. And that's where my wife likes to put her. I think of her more as a singer songwriter, folk singer type thing. But whatever the case may be, I like her a lot. It's Mary Chapman Carpenter with Shooting Straight in the Dark.
Mhm.
Of course, the big hit on this album was Down at the Twist and Shout.
Yep.
Saturday night when the moon is out, gonna head on over to the Twist and Shout. I think she might have even played it at the Super Bowl that year or the year after. If I'm not sure. I know she was on some big show with that song. It was a pretty big deal, but
Yeah.
yeah, all the albums not like that. There's a variety of songs in here. There's some lovely ballads on here as well. But it's always intelligent lyrics, strong melodies, and her voice, which I have always found just a very soothing and reassuring instrument. Just
Mhm.
yeah, I like the sound of her voice. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, she just makes me feel good, just safe, comfortable, protected, whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's almost a motherly kind of thing, but not quite. It's a weird thing. I don't know,
I know what you're saying. You don't need
but
to get into it too. I know. I know. It's not weird. It's understandable. Um, Saturday Night Down to Twist and Shout. That video was all over Much Music. They had a weekly show called Outlaws and Heroes, which focused on country music, hosted by one Bill Welichka, who has gone on to other things. And that video was on all the time, like even during regular rotation, during like regular segments, it was on all the time. So I remember that. I also remember the track "He Thinks He'll Keep Her" from "Come On, Come On." Uh, no, I mean I like the song. The sentiment behind it can kiss my butt. I mean I'm sorry, um, but anyway, no, it's a good choice. It's a good choice. My number four is Queensryche with Empire. Um, Empire, released in 1990 through EMI America, produced by Peter Collins. This is seen as the band's big breakthrough album. I mean, they've had albums like Warning, Rage to Order. This album contained the huge track Silent Lucidity, also other tracks, Jet City Woman, the title track, also other songs, Best I Can. This was where the band were big, like they just exploded on radio and on video music television, especially on Much Music, back when they played videos back in the day. This video for, the video for Silent Lucidity was on Much Music every half hour, like literally. So, and uh, I like Jeff Tate's vocals on this album. I mean, he can crack your ribs with a piercing shriek, but he can also be very soft and very gentle and emotive, like he was on Silent Lucidity. Um, yeah, that's my number four.
Yeah, it was a good pick. Yes, that was huge around here on the legendary St. Louis, Missouri radio station KC 95. They played it to death.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep, yep,
And yeah, we enjoyed it.
definitely.
And yeah, I still think the Silent Lucidity was very much uh, a bit of a Pink Floyd tip of the hat there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well,
I can see that. Yeah.
all right, go in yet another direction here. We're just bouncing around here, there, and everywhere. This band has appeared twice previously um, for my personal countdown in the 80s. This is their third. This is Bossa Nova by the Pixies.
Hmm.
That's right. Um, their previous album, Doolittle, was kind of their breakthrough. Not that they truly ever had mainstream success back then, but yeah, that was their most so far, so to speak. Yeah.
Hmm.
This kind of followed up on that. It started out with Cecilia Ann, which covered their traditional instrumental surf rock sound that they like to go for. Followed up with a shriek fest from Black Francis on rock music with the um,
Hmm.
and it was followed. The third track was Deloria, probably the most popular song on the album,
Hmm.
which is a very catchy song. My Valoria, even I adore you. Yeah, it's the Pixies could be very hooky when they wanted to. They had lots of pop in them along with all their other weird stuff.
Hmm.
A song called Allison, one of those neat little lyrical tricks where it wasn't actually about a woman named Allison. It was about jazz singer Mose Allison.
Yeah.
I always like when lyricists do that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Expect them to go one way and then they do something completely different. So,
Yeah.
and the Pixies always went their all kinds of different ways, no matter. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this is a pretty solid, consistent album all the way through. I still slightly prefer Doolittle, but it's a close competition.
Yeah.
This is almost as good. So number three, Bossa Nova by the Pixies.
Good choice. I knew the Pixies were going to make an appearance somewhere on the list. It's cool though. My number three. Oh boy. It's a bit of a toss up here. I'm gonna go with the Extreme 2 Pornography. Um, the band's second release, by the name Extreme 2. Major hit for the band through A&M Records with the hits, with the singles, Decadent Dance, Get the Funk Out. I always say Get the Out myself, featuring Pat Travers on guitar. Just when Extreme came out, they cited their influences of Queen and Prince, and in that order. And they basically kind of came through with that because they had the heaviness of Queen at times, but they also had the funk of Prince. And obviously, the big hit, More Than Words, you know, um, put them on the map. And then every band out there did a black and white video sitting around in a circle with an acoustic guitar trying to be extreme. Most notably, there was a band from Canada called Svengali, and they did a video called Love Don't Live Here Anymore, or a song. And the video for it, effing rip off of More Than Words. And the guy, lead singer, sitting there with, looking like, Betancourt with the long hair and the bandana around his head, singing so earnestly, looking up to the sky. And it's like, Bitch, please. I'm sorry. It ain't gonna work. Okay. Um,
You put Rolls Royce in my head with that song title.
so I mean, no, we're not talking about the car wash, okay? But it's no, I mean, and other songs from the album, Wholehearted, which is one of my favorite ones. He-Man Woman Hater. It was so I mean, it's a great album. It's unfortunate that they could not recapture the success with other releases, Three Sad Stereo Story and Waiting for the Punchline, as they did with Pornography. But they had their moment in the sun, and their newest album is fantastic as well. So six, it's fantastic. So yeah, that's my number three. Extreme with Pornography.
That's a good one. I used to have that on cassette also. I think the reason they didn't recapture that success is because most of the people that made that album such a success got into it for more than words, and then they realized, hey, wait, there's
Yeah,
nothing like that, and they didn't really have a follow-up in that vein because that wasn't necessarily who they were.
yeah. And that just a quick story. That single wasn't even going to be released. Nuno Betancourt went to A&M Records in California, Los Angeles, and said basically got his way into the company, into the building, and said to the A&R guy, "You need to release this song." And he's like, "Well, we don't feel that it's going to be a hit." And he's like, "Release it now." They released it. It was a big hit. It's a double-edged sword, though, right? So.
There's a lot of those stories out there where the band gets known for something that's not really what they're what they are.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, that's my number three.
Good call.
Hmm.
All right, my number two. This is the first appearance by someone who will feature later, as assuming we continue to do these for a number of years. Um, the band is called Toy Matinee. But the guy I'm talking about is the late Kevin Gilbert, and he is the primary singer and the co-songwriter on this Toy Matinee album,
Yeah.
along with one Patrick Leonard, who is, of course, well known for working with Madonna.
And Pink
And
Floyd. Yeah.
Kevin also did some work on some Madonna stuff as well, along with many other things. Kevin had quite a resume. Yeah. And obviously, Patrick Leonard around this time was coming off big success with Like a Prayer with Madonna. I mean, and then he's got his own little band here. You know, this odd band that was a one off. This was the only album that they ever did. There was a follow up a few years down the line with Richard Page for Mr. and Kevin Gilbert's place called Third Matinee, but it really was not the same thing.
Hmm.
Without Kevin, there's no, it's just not it. Patrick Leonard is the most well known, but Kevin's the star here.
Hmm.
Kevin was quite a talent on multiple levels. He was a multi instrumentalist, a songwriter, a producer, studio whiz, and an excellent singer with a very emotive, strong voice. Later on, him and his band Stanley Snail would go on and appear at a prog festival and perform live the entire "The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway" album by Genesis to give you an idea of his general range.
Okay.
But this is not that. This is a mainstream pop rock album circa 1990 with great players, smart lyrics. My favorite song in here, possibly one of the two best known, is the Ballad of Jenny Ledge. Um, it's a song about a woman who basically will not to go with the man who loves her because she's looking for security instead. So
Yeah.
yeah, she goes for someone with the money who has no love but gives her what she needs. Yeah, a home and a car and all these things. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's kind of a brutal song lyric, but it's a gorgeous song. Last Plane Out is another one that got a lot of play around that time, especially around Los Angeles, apparently.
Hmm.
There Was a Little Boy. That's another, well, a song about child abuse. So yeah, these guys they went deep on this album. This isn't just a happy-go-lucky pop album. There's some serious topics addressed on here, but it's done just so well. It's a shame there was no real follow-up, but there was more to Kevin. And if you follow along as we go through the years here, you'll definitely be hearing more from him on my end.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice. I'm gonna get you to send me that name. Look it up.
Toy Matinee.
Toy Matinee. Okay.
Yep, that's a self-titled album.
Okay. I got it. Okay. Toy Matinee. I got it. All right. Coming in at number 2 for me on my list is, told you this is going to go off in areas here. Depeche Mode with Violator.
Nice.
This came out when I was in college at the time when this came out. It's a dark album. Martin Gore being the main songwriter of the band. Singles like Personal Jesus, um, Enjoy the Silence, which is my favorite track on the album, Policy of Truth. This album takes you on a journey inside the mind and psyche of one Martin Gore. And all I can tell you guys is if you listen to this album from start to finish, sit down, put your seatbelt on, tighten it up, and enjoy the ride. When you're done, you won't be the same as you were before. This was a fantastic album. It was all over the airwaves, all over college radio, all over the dance floor even in terms of the remixes, like with Enjoy the Silence. Amazing, amazing. And a deep album, but also an ass shaker of an album, as I call it. So that's my number 2.
Yeah, that's a great pick. And I can give two quick examples of how that is influential across multiple genres that have nothing to do with where they came from. Johnny Cash covered Personal Jesus, and Beauty and the Beast gothic metal band Lacuna Coil covered Enjoy the Silence, and
Mm-hmm.
they did a great job on it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Marilyn Manson covered Personal Jesus as well.
So,
So there
yeah,
you go.
very influential across genres. That's an impressive feat.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. My number one, like the Pixies, this band has appeared twice before for me in the 80s with their first two albums. This was their brief commercial breakthrough, the one that had their biggest hit on it, which still, I think, only made like number 20 in the States here. That hit was Joey. The band is Concrete Blonde and Bloodletting. This is the one time that I got to see them live. That was quite an adventure just getting to the show. It was a last minute thing, and but it was well worth it. We got there a couple songs late, so they took pity on us and took us up toward the front. And it was standing room club, and I got to make eye contact with Johnette Napolitano throughout the show, which, let's just say, for my early adult self was
Enough
something.
said.
I
Yeah.
definitely had a thing for Johnette.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this Joey, of course, was the hit about basically uh, her relationship with an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Wendy is probably a fan favorite on here, and oddly, it's a song that was not written by Johnette. It was written by Andy
That's
Preboy.
a hard track. Sorry.
Yes, Andy Preboy was the second lead singer of the band Wall of Voodoo,
Yeah.
who also was mentioned previously by me. He wrote this song, and of course, he makes an appearance here, and he did his own version of it on his solo album, Upon My Wicked Son, and Johnette did a guest appearance there for him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was
They're
just,
both great.
yeah. I'm sorry I cut you off. I'm sorry I
No, go
interrupted.
ahead.
Tomorrow, Wendy is a very hard song to listen to. It's very hard. It's good. I mean, it features Gail Ann Dorsey on bass, who worked with David Bowie most prominently. And by the way, Bloodletting is on the way here. It'll be here today.
Nice.
I found the 28th anniversary edition uh, online on Amazon. Tomorrow, Wendy is going to die. I mean, that is a very hard track to listen to. Sorry. Um, it's a good choice, though. It's a good choice. I'm sorry. It's hard.
Yeah, yeah. This
It is hard.
it is a great song.
Yeah.
And yeah, Joey and Tomorrow Windy are the tracks that close the album, but the whole album is just damn good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
they the key change here. Their original drummer Harry Rushikoff had left or been booted out of the band, and Paul Thompson from Roxy Music, of all things, had become their new drummer, and that's who I saw them with Paul on drums. Um, they had a secondary hit, Caroline, which wasn't quite as big, but definitely got some play. But every song is excellent, really.
Hmm.
This is, I guess, their most pure gothic pop, I guess you would say, album.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
started branching a little further on their next album, but yeah, this is still their most popular, the most known. Joey is still their biggest hit, even though it wasn't that big a hit. But yeah, I still love this album.
Yeah.
It's yeah, one of my all-time favorites, and they were probably my favorite band at this point in time.
Good
That's
choice.
my number one.
It's a good choice. I'm sorry I got emotional there. It's Tomorrow, Wendy is really hard to listen to. Um, it is, but
It's all right. I mean,
it's good. But I mean,
that's the point. I mean, if music's supposed to make you feel something,
yeah,
whether it's to laugh, to cry, to make you shake your ass, as if it doesn't make you feel anything, then what's the point?
yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
I mean, I was listening to a playlist of these songs earlier this morning of all these albums shuffled together randomly, and Joey came on, and I got teary eyed just singing along with that.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
yeah,
Johnette and Jim Mankey, they were a hell of a combo.
they were.
Yeah.
Um, my number one, ladies and gentlemen, and told you we're gonna go off on a tangent. George Michael with Listen Without Prejudice, Volume One. Um, this album is the anti-faith album. George Michael was going in a totally different direction. He did not appear in any of the videos to promote the album. He refused to. He wanted the music to speak for itself. Even if you look at the front cover, you'll see it's a black and white shot of a crowd gathering, you know, like an audience gathering, like at a rally. He wanted again the music to speak for itself, and it does. There are 10 tracks. The whole album is good. It's largely an acoustic album. You have songs like I was gonna say Listen Without Prejudice, Praying for Time, Freedom 90, Something to Say, uh, They Won't Go When I Go, a Stevie Wonder cover, uh, Cowboys and Angels, which is like a waltz time, wistful track, 7 minutes plus. Side two starts off with Waiting for That Day, which features co-writing credit from Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. The drum sample on that is from a James Brown track called Funky Drummer. Okay, that starts off side two. Follows up with Mother's Pride, a UK single. Heal the Pain, Soul Free, and Waiting Reprise, where the lyrics go, there ain't no point in moving on until you got somewhere to go. And the road that I've walked upon, it filled my pockets and emptied out my soul. So he's basically saying everything that I accomplished with faith, it didn't make me happy. I presented to you what you wanted to see with regards to faith and the music on the album. That isn't who I am. Listen to the album and listen to what I'm trying to tell you within the music and within the lyrics. So a little heavy, but that is my number one, and I stand by that. Every track on that album is effing fantastic. You really should listen to it. So,
Nice. I remember at the time when Praying for Time was getting radio play, it didn't hit me at the time. It seemed like it lacked hooks,
mhm.
and it took years before the song's message sunk in before I really caught the lyrics
Yeah,
and and the melody and everything just got a hold of me. So that was definitely a grower for me. But yeah,
yeah,
it's quite good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but there you
That's
go.
what we do.
Okay. So your first honorable mention.
My first, we have both mentioned previously once with their debut, but I'm going to also mention their follow up, Time's Up by Living Color. This one was a little bit controversial at the time it came out. There was a song called Elvis is Dead on here, which featured a guest vocal from Little Richard, of all people, which is pretty cool.
Oh Lord, okay.
Yeah, it's a great fun song. Love Rears Its Ugly Head was another song that got a lot of play. Um, Type was kind of the rock radio hit. We are the children of concrete and steel. Yeah, y'all may remember it if you were listening to the radio back in those days.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is absolutely a worthy follow up to Vivid. I think it's every bit as good, maybe even better, frankly. I don't think they'll ever truly top Cult of Personality as a song. They're always going to be defined by that song because it is
yeah,
so perfect.
yeah.
But that's not to discount the rest of their catalog. They put out a lot of excellent music,
No,
and
no.
this is part of it. Well worth your time if you liked anything else you've ever heard by them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Living Color, Time's Up.
I'm gonna be looking for that one because I love Vivid. I'm gonna be looking for that one. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, my first honorable. Ooh, I have coffee in my cup here. I swear to God. My first honorable mention is the Black Crows with "Shake Your Moneymaker." Yeah, those got rhythm, man. I'm telling you, you got more rhythm.
Moneymaker's off camera. Sorry, you're just going to have to assume,
Yeah,
folks.
no, no, no. Believe
Probably
me,
for the
he
best.
does have it. He does have his moneymaker. Uh, Debut release from the band was songs like "Twice as Hard," "Jealous Again," "She Talks to Angels," "Hard to Handle." I mean, this was a bona fide hit for the band. I'm just slowly getting into Black Crows. I did an episode on album Spotlight on Lions, which is a fantastic album. I'm going to be doing spoiler alert. I'm going to be doing a Black Rose ranking the albums soon. The new album Happiness Bastards comes out on Friday. I got my copy. It's on the way, pre-ordered. Just a good blues rock album. The gravelly vocals at times from uh, you know, Chris Robinson. I mean, just and the fact that they didn't get along, the brothers, Chris and Rich Robinson did not get along. I mean, they were in the news mostly for their offstage antics as they were for their music. And they've basically been classified as the American Rolling Stones because they basically had that. We don't give a shit who you are. We are who we are. We don't kiss anyone's ass. This is who we are. Take us or leave us, kind of a thing. So that's my first honorable mention.
All right, nice. Yeah, that one got a lot of play in St. Louis too. every one of those songs you mentioned. That oddly enough, it seemed like when She Talks to Angels came out, like they were briefly kind of thrown in with hair metal bands at the time
Yeah,
due to that song,
I don't
which
understand
is
that.
no, it's weird in retrospect. At the
Yeah,
time I got it, it seemed rational, but now it seems strange. So,
yeah,
all right, let's see. There's a lot of jerking on your end. Am I
you're fine.
all right? Your picture and sound are very out of sync for me, so hopefully we're not about to lose my internet again.
Okay, okay. Well, I got
So
you. You're
I'll
still
make this
good.
quick. My last honorable mention is Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic by the Sundays.
Oh,
The Sundays, featuring lead singer Harriet Wheeler. They are a very gentle, like folky, poppy band. Nothing too fancy on the instrumentation. Guitar, bass, drums, fairly simple. Just she just has a sweet, soothing voice. They have simple pop hooks. There's really not any one particular thing that's just amazing about this album, but it's just a really fun, pleasant listen. It's
mm-hmm.
yeah, anytime you just want to chill out and listen to something that's not going to yell in your face, not going to be abrasive, and just have a nice glass of tea in a spring afternoon, enjoy the breeze, and relax. So, yeah,
It's a
the
good one.
Sundays, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
That's good. I haven't heard the name The Sundays in a long time.
Yeah, they were probably most known for their cover of the Rolling Stones' "Wild Horses,"
Okay,
but
cool,
that's not on this album.
cool, cool. That's cool. My last honorable mention was Bill's number one, Concrete Blonde with Bloodletting. Guys, this is simply a fantastic album. The idea behind the storyline of this album was Jeanette Napolitano was reading Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire series. So the music was basically, and the lyrics were basically inspired by this series. Joey was all over Much Music when it was released as a video. Amazing. I loved the track. She could sing in a very subdued tone, but she could also hit the soaring notes when she had to. She fucking nailed it. I'm sorry. The entire album is fantastic. You have Joey, the lead off single. Caroline, another not so well known single, but another fantastic single. Bloodletting, Vampire Song, the lead off track. Chugging guitars, heavy rhythm guitars on this son of a bitch. I swear, like all over the place. Um, Also, other songs of note, Darkening of the Light. I mean, amazing. And yes, Tomorrow, Wendy. I'm sorry. I got emotional before. I apologize for that. I won't do that again. But you know what? That song, again, featuring Gaylan Dorsey on bass, brutal, honest, raw, emotional, alive. It's just in your face. And that's a perfect way to end off the album. That is that is my second honorable mention. It is a good album. I'm looking forward to listening to it more when it arrives today in the mail. I found the 20th anniversary edition of Amazon. Thank you, Bill. But yeah, that's my second honorable mention.
Have you heard the Andy Preboy version of "Tomorrow, Wendy"? I don't know if it's available on YouTube or not. But yeah, it's if you yeah, it's worth checking out. I really enjoyed his whole "Upon My Wicked Son" solo album that came out around this time. Also,
Yeah,
yeah, I'd actually kind of forgotten about it. I don't remember if it was this year or the next that it came out. It might have made my list if I'd remembered.
yeah. No, no,
But
no.
that's another one I had on cassette, so it was out of sight, out of mind for a while now. So, all
But
right.
that's just it. When you put these lists together, you think, okay, you think in your mind, okay, you know what you're going to put down, but then you remember, oh, there's that album, and then there's that album, and then there's this album, and you know, sorry if I hit my desk. But I mean, that's the good thing about music. It comes back to you at different times and for different reasons, and it makes you feel different emotions. So, so there you have it, guys. Our top five albums of 1990 plus two honorable mentions. We will be back probably another day with another video because we both have obligations that we need to get to today. We were going to do two videos at the most today, but time is running short for us. So we will be back very soon with top five albums of 1991. All right, we're going to go through 1990 to 1999. So please put down there in the comments below your top five albums or top three, top two, top 10 of 1990, an honorable mention or two. And again, no right or wrong answers. Sorry, just opinions, right? So I want to thank Mr. Bill Schuster for joining me again. This was his idea. He gets all the credit for these episodes. I want to thank you again for joining me, Bill. It was fantastic seeing you again. We haven't seen each other for quite a while now, for about a week and a half or something. So, um, anyways, guys, please look after yourselves. Click like and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. We will be doing our Viewer's Choice series. I promise. We've had other things going on. Seriously,
Crazy.
yeah, we've had family issues going on my end, and just health issues and stuff. So we're taking care of all that. We will be doing the Viewer's Choice series soon. We're also going to be tackling our top 30 prog tracks. So that's going to be done in 3 separate episodes. We are not doing a 30-song prog list in one go.
No,
No,
that would be the proggiest way to do it, but wow.
no, it's not gonna. This is not gonna turn into a King Crimson or a Just Tell album. I'm sorry, from the 1970s, but we will get that done and get that out to you as soon as we can. And we are working on the list. So for Mr. Bill Schuster, I am Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a fantastic day. And please look after yourselves and one another. And we'll see you soon with our top 5 albums of 1991. Bye for now.